Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so a therapy session because I had a few things on my mind, nothing too pressing about myself on this day, but um, yeah, it's a few topics. First of all, uh, it's a cousin of mine uh, that I saw a post of hers a couple days ago on my dad's side. Shawnice, sending love her way. She lost her significant other 2 days ago, and I don't know them very well. I haven't had a chance to reach out to her or speak to her, so it's not like this is a situation where I can say I'm personally acquainted with them. But when you have social media, you're gonna keep in touch with all your family, everybody, cousins, distant cousins, people that you only see at family reunions. So I was able to keep up with my cousin and see how she had how her life was moving in a direction where she had found love and all of these various different things. Very happy to see. But I saw a post from her a couple of days ago, maybe about 3 days ago, saying, "Pray for me, peace, play for me." And she didn't look like she was very healthy. She looked like her health had been taking a step in the wrong direction. And having been through what I'd been through with my mother, I kind of have concerns when I see people look a certain way after going through that. So that's what I saw there. And so I immediately was a bit concerned for where we were at with her health, um, only to find out 2 days later that her husband passes away, her significant other. She is doing, I guess, about as well as you can in a situation like that. He had just gotten her tattooed on his arm 2 days ago, I believe, or posted it 2 days ago. I don't know if the tattoo was done 2 days ago, but it's a recent tattoo, recent post, and less than 48 hours later, the Lord called him home. Uh, this is significant for a couple of reasons. One, they met one another later in life. It seemed to me. Like I said, I don't know these folks. Social media let you know kind of things. They met each other later in life. I believe they're both above 50, and so, there is an opportunity to fall in love later in life. There's an opportunity to meet who you're supposed to be with. So that's one reason why I just want to encourage everybody to not give up on that if you haven't gotten where you're going. And the second thing is that we got to be mindful of our health as it pertains to our weight, as it pertains to what we're putting into our body, as we talk about all the time. That's what comes to mind. I don't know what caused this to occur, but I do know that he was a heavy set man. I know that. And so it brings me to a space, whether it's relevant for his situation or not, to remind everybody to just be mindful of what you put in your body, especially if you are my age or getting older. If I'm gonna be creeping up on 39 in a couple weeks. Like I was telling you guys in the last therapy session, I can't afford to eat as bad as I would like to, not only because of the allergies, but because of my metabolism. If I were to have cheat meals, my body goes the other way. And it's just one of those situations where it's like, when you start to get older, Father Time's gonna knock on your door anyway. It's like I was speaking in regards to Anthony Davis of the Lakers yesterday. As long as he's continuing to work on his body and take care of his health, he's not going to be headed in the same direction he was in the past, because his conditioning is going to allow him to continue to build upon the betterment of that conditioning. You're not going to be in the same shape you were 2 years ago because you've been working out for 2 years straight and you've been eating better for 2 years straight. So that's what we want to see all of us do, whether we're in athletics or not, because we don't know what's going to happen in our lives. It was what I was talking about in that therapy session too. It's why I want to eat healthy, because I find myself to be an immature person, and the body has to match the mind. If I'm ever going to reach my highest maturity, my body can't dry out and die out before I actually do that. And since I'm a slow maturer, I guess you could say, I need to continue to be young. I need to be young of the body. And so it has to be youthful. And that means I got to be eating the best it will allow me to, and then I got to be exercising as much as it will allow me to. And so that's what it is, man. I find myself very mindful of that this morning after she lost her significant other. And all of those things just help me understand that, of course, another aspect is things are not quite what they seem. Her health is probably something that we need to be praying about, but Lord knows that we need to pray for the people around the people that we're concerned about, because you just don't know. I guess that's what this story told me. I was worried about my cousin, and her husband was the one I really needed to be worried about. And so that's what it really comes down to. You just want to send condolences and good energy their way. My intention is to not create content off of their loss, but to send condolences and to help everybody who follows me understand um, what can be taken from the story, which is let's take care of our health, let's eat right, let's believe in the love that's out there for us, and don't give up on it too soon, because you can find it later. And to cherish the moments that you have with the people you love, because we really don't know when the Lord is going to punch our ticket. A lot of us think we're going to make it to this, that, and the third, or never have any intentions of leaving the earth, have things that we want to do that it hasn't even crossed our mind, that we're not going to be able to finish our lives to accomplish. And that's just how it goes for some of us. Some things are just not going to get done. And part of dealing with life is knowing how to work on what needs to be worked on while still accepting the fact that maybe you don't complete it. It's a big part of it, because we have to be able to adhere to our own mortality to some degree, or else we're going to find ourselves in denial about what it is that's ultimately going to come our way. And I tell you, the only person who has to deal with your passing is you at the end of the day, as it pertains to your position on it. Others will hurt for you, with you, on their own, but it's only you going through that tunnel. So with that being said, I think a big part of our position, or our synopsis, or however you go, however it is acceptance. And when we talk about what's best for people, what's best for what they will take back, what's best for what's coming at them, even though it makes no difference at all to any of us but ourselves and the person that we are, it's important that we don't be in denial about such things, so that we don't find ourselves miserable if perhaps there is an afterlife, or if perhaps there is some unknown afterwards. You don't want to spend the majority of it, or whatever the case may be, mulling over negatively over what didn't get done, mulling over negatively about what can't get done, or dare I say, having your spirit stuck on earth because you can't let go of whatever it is that you were trying to accomplish here. Some of this stuff that we are trying to do, really, it means a lot, but not in the grand scheme of things of what the Lord's trying to do. And maybe it's more meaningful that we are an example rather than accomplish things as we move. Maybe it's just that we are seen a certain way so people can learn a certain lesson. Whatever the case may be, you got to enjoy the moment you're in, believe in the love that's coming your way, take care of your health. And if you believe in God, I'd say stay close so he can help you understand what stuff to pray for, as opposed to what your mind tells you to be worried about, and then immediately applying yourself to whatever your worries are. No, an attachment to the Lord to help you understand that there are other things to consider, that there was someone else that really, really needed your prayer, instead of what your fears told you ultimately to worry about. But nevertheless, that is the situation. I want to send prayers out to their family. I believe his last name was Marquez, so the Marquez family. And of course, Shanice and my cousin. And everybody who loved him. I know he has a son as well, so I'm just sending y'all good energy. You guys don't know me or of me. I'm just a random cousin of hers who happens to follow her on Facebook. And that's what it is. But, that was the thing I wanted to get on here and say, the first thing. Now we're going to an entirely different topic. Excuse me. Let me clear my throat. Excuse me. All right. So the next topic is going to be Kai Cenat in New York. A young fella, man. I don't think everybody who I'm seeing responding to that story really understands why he's been arrested. Basically, he was giving away a PlayStation 5 giveaway in New York City. And he told everybody in the middle of the afternoon on a Friday to come down there. What he needs to understand is that if he gonna do that with the type of following that he has, he could ignite something like that in a big city. Now, if he was in Kansas City, or if he would have did this in Oklahoma or something like that, yeah, the turnout would have been pretty big because he has a big turnout. But it ain't gonna be like damn New York City, bro. So I don't think he understood his power. And I'm gonna tell you something else. I don't want to say the state of New York is responsible for what he did, because I don't think this is, I don't know if that's how that works. I really don't. I'm ignorant to that. I don't know how this works. But it seems to me that it would be either state or federal's responsibility to make sure they're prepared for something like this in this social media influencing era. We know for a fact that this is an idol worship society. You put a celebrity in someone's face, if it's the right celebrity, they're going to go gung-ho. A lot of people in our lives around us don't have God in their lives, so they don't know they're not supposed to idolize humans. They don't know they're not supposed to idolize subjects and cultures. And so the powers that be, whoever they may be, who invest in these cultures, are actually responsible for the chaos that ensues when one of the influencers of the day, whether it's one that they pour their money into or one influenced by the culture for which they pour their money into celebrities and have it so that massive amounts of people worship celebrities. When you have this being the case, it's on the governing body to be able to respond to situations such like as these in big cities when a young influencer who doesn't know his power decides to do something sheepish like this, for which he probably does not know it's going to be this bad. This is his first time on earth. He's only like 23 years old, 22, whatever. I don't even think the kid's that old. He don't know what the hell happens when this happens until now. That he's seen it, now he learns, and that's where the wisdom comes from. It's the people who've already seen this crap that need to be responsible for making sure that doesn't happen. And they failed to do that, and they want to scapegoat the kid. And I'm not letting them do it with my voice. I think it's important that they arrested Kai Cenat, because it was important that that young fella learn that lesson. Just like it's important for all of us influencers to learn that lesson. And the big boy rappers too, who have that type of influence that they don't understand. The biggest problem with a lot of the folks who garner the attention of the masses is that they don't know what the hell they're doing and they don't know where they're leading those people. It's a God's honest truth. Most of the people that the masses follow happen to be people who need leadership in a good 90% of the cases. Why? Because that is what the masses that's what they go toward. That's the world itself. And we see this in a lot of the spiritual books. The world itself tends to be unwise together. Now, as individuals, when you can break people apart, get them to learn something, sit down and think, that's going to be a situation where you can get the most out of them. But when you ask the wide public, the masses, Joe Nobody and everybody along with him, to just think, he going to look at the person next to him, that person going to look to the person next to them, and they're going to follow whatever the hell each other figure out together. And it's a lot of times it ain't going to be nothing of substance or logic or wisdom or reason. It's just going to be whatever flashes in their face, whatever's catchy, whatever gets them talking, they're going to go toward it. It's not going to be anything smart that they go toward, y'all. Let's just be honest. 9 out of 10 times masses are going to go toward the cookie cutter nonsense that they've been trained to go toward over hundreds and hundreds of years of propaganda. So this is what I know. They know what buttons to press to get the people going. Just like Kanye said in the song, it gets the people going. They study this crap. They know what it is. A guy like Kai Cenat doesn't have the following he has unless they push him in a direction to have it. Now, he may have that some magical thing that every once in a while a star has that just makes it so that millions and millions of people flock to him. That NBA Youngboy thing. He may have it. But it's the people who've been here before Kai Cenat, before NBA Youngboy, that have seen situations like this before. They know this happens when a celebrity comes in. They seen Michael Jackson. They know how this goes. They seen Britney Spears in her heyday, the Backstreet Boys in the boy band era. They seen it all. They went through Elvis. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't let these people lie to you. They've been through the hip hop era in 96 and all that. They went through all of the pop eras where you run through the mall with 100,000 people in the mall, all following one person. They've been through this. Before Kai Cenat was ever born, they've seen this crap before. It is their responsibility to make sure that when one of these influencers who don't know what the hell he's doing garners this much people, that they have some control over it, especially in a city like New York. There is no excuse. He should not be given anything other than a slap on the wrist. Nothing other than a slap on the wrist. Why? Because all that he really needs to understand is how to not do this again. And all we need to understand as influencers and the wide public is what happens when you do that. And why we should be fearful of doing it. And why influencers need to be responsible in not allowing their influence to garner a bunch of people into a space where they're not going to act right. This is one of the things I've said on this camera. If I'm going to be leading people somewhere, I got to be leading them in the right direction. I don't want to just be leading them off a cliff. I don't want to just be leading them, period. If I'm going to gather 100 million people, what are we talking about? Are we just talking about how shiny this thing on my head is? Where the hell is that going to lead us? I don't need all of your attention if I'm not going to give you nothing. And a lot of times, young fellas, Kaisanat, they're not giving you anything of substance. They're going to give you a good time, and that's all the masses are going to go towards. So when that is the case, you're not going to have nothing mature going on outside with 1 million people. You're not going to have anything good going on when that crowd comes to that setting for something free. It is on the city or the state or the feds or even big. I don't know who is on, because that's outside of my understanding. But it's on some of the adults in the room to be able to react to this a bit better than they were able to. That's it. Now, that doesn't mean that you let the kid go scot-free. No, because that example, he needs to be made an example of. But not to the point where they're just scapegoating him and not taking any of the blame. No. Not when they're not giving him, not saying, well, we allowed it to get out of hand and we should have been ready for the next influencer who wasn't wise enough to do this. We should have been ready. I ain't hear that from none of them. All I heard was, yes, we're going to charge him. Yes, he inside. Yes, and he's also an 18-year-old kid who doesn't have a whole lot of maturity to him. You guys are supposed to be the governing influence and the protectors of the damn city. How the hell did this happen? How'd a bunch of 17-year-olds come outside and destroy the city? Destroy Times Square. You want to blame an 18-year-old? Because he doesn't know better? But you do. And y'all never hold on that? Should you not have? Sometimes, and it's like, and a lot of people pointed out that they had the black police chief get up there and, tear down the black kid. It's PR stuff, man. I think people are so afraid of being canceled. Cops have been through a lot in regards to being pointed in direction at and saying, yo, you a racist, that they kind of just don't even want the backlash of having a non-black person get up there and reprimand the black kid for this. I know where that comes from. But they have to understand that there's going to be backlash for that too. There's going to be people who look at that and say, look how they used the black man to tear down the black boy. You probably do better putting a non-black person up there to do something like that if you want it to be received well by the public. I think it's the opposite of what you think. You think we want to see a black person tear down a black person. We do not. In the YSL case with the black lady who's coming down on Young Thug, no. The way I think, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I've heard this, so I'm just going to personalize it because it is this type of opinion. The way I think is that this is I'm going to use the right words. I don't think I'm using the right word if I have in my head the wrong one, but basically you're using a black person to tear down black people, but we know there are white people or non-black people behind them pulling the strings. So we know it's not us doing us this way. It's someone else forcing, by way of the employment of this person, to come down on the black infraction doer or whatever. So it just doesn't look right to those of us who are sensitive to that kind of thing. It doesn't feel right. It feels more of the same type of patronizing that comes from the Black Lives Matter campaign and all of that stuff. It's just like, yo, that's not love. That is patronizing. That is blowing smoke up our backside. That is insulting our intelligence as it pertains to who's actually motivating this process. Not to say that the process itself should not be done. Because, hey, look, Kai's going to have to face something. But, or YSL is going to have to face something. But, don't have the optics look as if I'm supposed to believe that these are black people spearheading the process or the witch hunt, because we don't believe so. What we believe is that there are likely Caucasian people behind this, and that should be fine if they happen to have the jobs that would enforce this. Let's remove the racial stuff, get back to being who you are, and I honestly believe that will be received more genuinely. instead of the patronizing, put a black person to talk to a black person formula in place. I don't need a black person to talk to me when it's a white person behind that black person. I would rather see the white person who wants me to do whatever, hold me accountable, whatever. I'd rather see that. It looks more genuine when that is the case. And when it is a black person spearheading the whole thing, then we want to see that black face and that's it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to throw a white face in my face to make this make sense. No, do what really is there to be done. Be genuine. That'll be more respectful, I think. In a world where racial tension is high and a lot of confusion is being placed in regards to racial conversations, people are trying to do misdirection in regards to the various topics they'll talk about. People want to deflect and all that. In a world where that's the case, the only thing I really need to see is the truth. That's it. I don't want no applications of patronizing coming my way. None. And I speak for myself and anybody who agrees with me. Excuse me. So, that's what I want to say, man. I think Casanat learned a hard lesson. I think in learning that lesson, he could potentially actually lose some value. Not value, but lose some popularity. Because once you start becoming wiser, the people who flock towards you will be turned off by that. I'll be honest with you. As soon as you start making sense and start being mature, that's not what they're into. These are the people that want to go outside for a PlayStation 5 and tear up Times Square. And that's another thing. It's like, who are you gathering as you get famous? You know what I mean? This is one of the things I talk about. This is why I don't put all the bells and whistles on my channel. What that means is hashtags and all kinds of stuff, all types of bios and write-ups. I don't put all that stuff on my channel because I think it's going to gather Joe Anybody. And Joe Anybody can't really gain a whole lot from what it is that I have to say right now. This is not the time for me to be talking to the wide public. This is the time for me to be gathering my core base. People who are going to listen to me, whether I'm right or wrong. People who give a damn about what I'm talking about you or whatever. That's who I'm talking to right now. People who can actually connect with my likeness. And once you start hashtagging everything, you get everybody. People who mess with you, people who don't. Trolls, people who want to tear up Times Square. People who want to see the world burn. All kinds of different stuff that I have no connection for. I have no connection to those people. None at all. I've known that since I was born. I'm meant to try to stop them from doing dumb stuff, not connecting with them and entertaining them. So for me, it's like, yo, I don't want just fame. Wide fame is nothing. Give me a base and let that base grow. And let the suggestion from what it is that we talk about influence the world. I have no interest in just getting famous in 2023 because 2023's whole purpose is to get famous. The whole year is about gathering attention, meaningless, useless, worthless attention. Look at me as I do what? I don't know. Just look at me because I want you looking at me as instead of everybody else. Like, that's the whole point. And for me, it's just like, nah, let me leave something here that people can actually use past this attention era. When we all get attention fatigue and everybody just wants to sit down in the corner and relax, they're going to find me and I'm going to give them everything they need to hear at that moment. So that's my goal. But, yeah, I wish the best for young Kai Cenat. I like the kid. I do. I think he's a positive kid. I just don't think that he is yet where he's headed in terms of his wisdom, just like everybody else his age. And unfortunately, when you're given that much power, sometimes you need to see it be used the wrong way by you to understand that it's you that needs to use that power the right way. And I think he had the right idea giving away a PS5, but I don't think the wisdom was attached to help him understand what could go wrong when you ask a bunch of people to do something on your behalf. That ain't got nothing to do with kumbaya, sitting down, being relaxed. You got to initiate peace from within your demand for people to show up. You got to also say, and we're coming to sit on the ground with our legs folded. If you don't say stuff like that, they're going to come out there jumping around. And so that's the lesson you need to learn. And that's why I'm not mad at them for arresting him and getting him all that. Just don't throw a black person in my face saying, oh, it's his fault. We ain't got no culpability when you know damn well it's your city. You know damn well that's a child who just so happens to have a lot of power. He ain't going to do nothing good with that power until he learns he had why. And this is exactly what that was. So, yeah, I think they need to go ahead and slap him on the wrist, make him pay a bunch of money, and then get him back to his stream. That's it. Get him right back on the stream. I don't want to do no year for 2 years. I know how New York is with guns and stuff like that. They want to sit you down for 1,000,000 years. They think we're going to go back to the mobster era or some stupid shit they got going on in New York. They need to grow up. If I'm being honest, they need to grow the hell up. New York needs to grow up with their gun laws and need to grow up with how they handle certain things. Stop coercing people into 90-man, 100-man RICOs because he happened to go down to the liquor store with this guy in 2008. Like, that is just bullshit. And it needed to be said that way. That Casanova, the whole Casanova scenario, where he may have known some people, you know what I mean? And because of it, now he got to go to jail for 10 plus years. Yeah, nah, that has bad energy attached to it. And it smells like some weird stuff that ain't got nothing to do with what it looks like on the surface. That whole let's gather everybody up RICO style in New York, something wrong about that. There's something very wrong with that. And I bet, if you dig deep enough, you're going to find something rotten in the middle of that. That ain't on the up and up. I'm just telling you right now, I don't feel right. Never mind what the real is. My spirit is telling you that is wrong. You do not go about it that way. No, they're roping people up, throwing them in jail and making money off of them. And I don't think cleaning up the streets is the primary objective there. Now, when you round up people who happen to kind of know people a little bit, but not really. Nah. Brings me back to that Atlanta YSL RICO stuff. Same thing. Bad energy. It don't feel right. Never mind what it's going and doing and what it's supposed to do. I'm telling you that it doesn't feel right. Evil can be done while people pretend to clean the floor. You're not trying to clean up. You're trying to annihilate a whole generation of fathers who will not be around to raise their seeds. That's what I feel. They're getting these people up out of here. Let's promote gang culture through the music. Gang culture. And then when people get involved in gang culture, they rope them together, send them away forever. Who's in charge? Who's in control of what? It's like they want to, am I tripping? Or is it one of those situations where they want to blame the bad guys for stuff they're supposed to be responsible for protecting? It's like, yes, the bad guys are the bad guys. They are what is out there to protect against. It is not particularly their fault that you fail in stopping them. They are they. You are supposed to stop them. And once you catch them, you want to blame them for your failures in catching them. Nah, not that type of stuff. So these are the type of things we pay attention to, man. I think Kai Cenat had he had a good thought in mind. Let me just give away some PS5s, gain some attention. Maybe if it goes wild, it'll make me even more famous. And the people around him, apparently they ain't all that wise either. And see, that's the problem with the internet age. I don't think there are a lot of people who understand how bad they make themselves look. Maybe I'm one of them. I will never exclude myself from that. But how bad we make ourselves look when we sit on the internet, spew what it is that we think we understand from within our circumferences of our houses. Never go outside, never find out the real at all. Never have anybody teach us what's out there other than what it is we see on our phone. Then speak loudly and matter-of-factly about what it is that you see as it being what it is. No wisdom in you, no context in you whatsoever. Just your phone, your brain, and your opinions with it. And I'm telling you, there's so many people on the internet who speak this way. I think a lot of those people get jobs next to people like Kai Cenat or next to celebrities, and they become none the wiser when they are in control of what the celebrity is. I don't think these people are any better than a lot of social media nobodies in there spewing stuff they have no business spewing in regards to worlds that they're not from or they don't understand. But yet somehow, by way of their celebrity and celebrity of the people they work for, they're able to control what ends up ultimately happening with a lot of these people without understanding at all what happens when you don't properly control what happens. You think about that Travis Scott thing. First of all, I don't know what I was looking at in that Travis Scott thing, but looking back on it several years later, 2 years later with that Travis Scott, when people got trampled, I still think this is a conversation, just like we said in regards to the state of New York. Who is actually supposed to be in charge of that? Y'all want to blame the subject that garnered the attention of the people, or those who were supposed to be responsible for making the venue safe? They're the ones who got them people in that position to have lost their lives. Travis Scott could have been any damn celebrity that had the ability to garner that type of attention, that had that type of music. Any big, Metallica or something. It could have been anybody that does that type of music that could have put themselves in that particular type of setting if the thing ain't it ain't safe enough to harbor the amount of people that came in, or if the security wasn't beefed up enough to control the gates to assure that they didn't have them floods of people, they didn't get enough security for what they were expecting. They want to blame Travis Scott and Rock Nation for not securing the venue when the venue should have been secured by whoever it was that's supposed to secure the venue. Now, if it's Rock Nation, cool, it's Rock Nation. If that's a personal thing where if that's Travis supposed to be coming out of his pocket with that in his budget, I don't know why it would, but then you blame him. But other than that, that's a talent on stage, rapping and singing, probably got drugs all in his body. He don't even know what the hell's going on around him. It's on the security and the people who own the venue and the city, the state, and the government to be ready for stuff like that. When you have a venue like that, there was a big star coming through, you can't have little metal gates. You know what I mean? Little metal gates around the property with little fence gates or whatever, when you know there's a potential you can get a flood of 30 or 40 times the people you expect, and you got to have the manpower for that outside, or don't put that venue together at all. And if this is the first time you're learning that lesson, then certainly don't blame Travis Scott for this being the first time you've learned a hard lesson. No, everybody want to find somebody to blame, but the reality is you're just learning on the fly, and some stuff requires you to have some foresight to keep from having things go wrong. And a lot of times in this world, when we're thinking about chasing money and chasing attention, we're not thinking about foresight and how we can prevent certain things that are ultimately going to happen when the unprecedented takes place, for which we seem to have forgotten because we don't talk about things that happened 20 years ago because we don't remember what happened 20 minutes ago. So that is the problem. Everybody's so quick to do right now. Ain't nobody looking back in the past to see what lessons were learned from things that were done that should not be done anymore. So that's what's going on. This instant grits, instant let me do it right now era. Nobody's learning anything that was already done. Nobody's taking any information from the past. And the old timers, who are still supposed to be in charge of the world, are taking advantage of the stupidity from the generation underneath them, as if they're going to live forever or something. That's what I see there. Like, oh, we got a free generation that's idiots. They're not going to take our wealth from us. They're too busy looking to put cameras in their own faces. Let's just enjoy our wealth. Let them do whatever they're going to do, and we'll pass our money to their kids, who will likely be on a different type of time or something. But they're going to discard all of you attention seekers, and I hope you realize that. That the first thing that comes to mind about everybody who's alive today, in regards to how I think they view us, natural selection. You don't value anything that's going to give you any real foundation. Anything that you get, you can't wait to throw away in regards to your money. You value people that don't have a wise bone in their body a lot of times and shun things that actually provide substance. Your generation is being discarded by you. Attention seekers, clout chasers. That's it. You want clout more than you want anything else. You want clout more than you want to leave generational wealth for your kids. You want clout more than you want your soul to be all right. You want clout more than you want to be respected or seen as somebody who should be loved in a way that garners the type of respect that you want. None of that stuff is in your heart. All you want is to be seen more so than the next person. And I'm telling you, them old timers that's been running the country since 1963, they're still alive. They don't care nothing about that. And they're hoarding the money that they were otherwise supposed to pass to you if you were going to be just a little smarter and a little more intent on earning what it is that's ultimately there for you to earn. You're not, so you're not going to get it. You know what I'm saying? That's literally it. While y'all want to value, see me, see my plate of food, see whatever the hell I'm at, see what I'm doing, they're taking all the revenue from all that and they're shoving it in their pocket just like they did with the previous generations. And that's what's going to continue to happen until they die out. You don't wonder why these dudes get on stage, can barely say 3 words. This is exactly what's happening to you. When your generation want to play around with the tech this, tech that, that's great. But you better be sure that you're learning lessons from yesteryear. Because a lot of them old timers had that wisdom in their heart and they ain't passing it to you. It's the bottom line. They just want to sit back and point at you and say, see, you're not wise. Yes, it's because you're supposed to be teaching the youngster how to be wise and you can't connect with them because you're not online. So that is what I see there, man. Just a disconnect between generation to generation, a whole lot of jealousy. Jealousy over people having youth, the ability to keep going, jealousy over people being able to be free and not coming from a world where you had to be this way and had to put on a mask and had to pretend you were something you're not. Because a lot of these people from yesteryear, they're mad because they didn't come from a world where they could be themselves. So now that you're being yourselves and they're deep in the closet about whatever evil they've been doing or whatever stuff that they choose, they feel they have to be there. because they've always been there, and the generations behind them didn't love them for the changes within them. So if they were different in any way, they were told to go away. And you are given all the love to be whoever it is you choose to be, and they hate it, friend. They hate your freedom. So I just want to tell all y'all, not everybody, not every old head, because I'm an old head and I don't hate your freedom, but I'm talking about those who this applies to, and it's a whole lot of them. They're going to keep your wealth from you because you have the youth. And with that youth comes a lack of wisdom. And with that lack of wisdom comes you bumping your head, generation. So please, put the camera down, pick up a book, pick up some meditation practices, your crystals, whatever you get, pick up a cross, a Bible, and get your soul right, young people. Because at the end of the day, we don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know when love is going to come. We don't know when our day is going to be punched. And we also understand that there's an entity in place that doesn't love us, that ultimately wants to see us continue to value the wrong things, find ourselves in early graves. My name is BDF 44. Thank you all for watching.